Yes, the One UI 9 is leaking early, and the biggest takeaway is simple. Samsung looks like it's finally fixing the small software annoyances Galaxy users complain about the most. Faster editing in gallery, cleaner about phone info, smoother settings search, and a more polished now bar and widget design. If these changes ship, One UI 9 won't just add features, it'll remove friction. Samsung's next major update, the One UI 9, isn't expected to land until around July, likely alongside the next foldables. But leaks are already painting a pretty clear direction. Simplify the interface, speed up common tasks, and make the system feel more consistent. And the timing matters because the One UI 8.5 rollout has felt messy. A lot of users expected a faster beta and a wider stable release by now, and we're still watching it crawl. So if Samsung wants to reset the narrative, the One UI 9 needs to feel modern, intentional, and ready. Let's go through the newest One UI 9 leak highlights, what looks legit, what's still rumor level, and why this could be the first update in a while that directly answers real complaints. First up, photo editing, and this is where Samsung might be making the smartest move. According to Samiguru, the One UI 9's gallery editor could introduce AI-powered suggestion pills that show up above the input area. The key idea is speed. You tap a photo, and the system surfaces quick, one-tap edits that actually match the picture in front of you. So instead of digging through menus for the same tools over and over, the editor basically says, here are the edits you'll most likely want for this specific shot. That's exactly the kind of AI integration people actually like, not flashy, just useful. If Samsung gets the suggestions right and keeps them fast, this could be a real quality of life upgrade. Next, the About Phone page, which desperately needs a cleanup. Right now, Samsung uses a big device image at the top that takes up space without adding much value. In the One UI 9 leak, that image is smaller and moved to the top left, and the important info moves up where it belongs. You'd see your device name, model number, and serial number right next to that icon. Then details like IMEI and phone number appear just below. It's a small change, but it fixes a common pain point. You go into About Phone because you need a detail quickly, not because you want a poster of your phone. Now let's talk settings search, because this one hits a daily use feature. The leak suggests Samsung is updating the settings app search bar animation, so it expands and collapses more fluidly, similar to the smooth motion you see in stock Android. On paper, that sounds minor. In reality, it's part of something bigger, making the system feel less heavy. One UI has improved a lot, but you still run into moments where animations feel a little stiff or overly Samsung-ish in a way that slows you down. A better search interaction doesn't just look nicer, it makes settings feel faster and more modern. Now, the other leak set adds changes to the Now bar, widgets, and some gallery selection UI tweaks. Starting with the Now bar, the leaked look is darker, with a more black-themed pill. On the left, there's a small circular thumbnail for the currently playing track. The track name sits near the top center, and there's a live wave-like animation along the bottom. Long pressing the Now bar reportedly opens a panel where you can remove the toggle or jump straight into Now bar settings. And the animation itself is described as smoother, with a slight bulge effect and a green accent as it expands. Pressing back collapses it into the original pill shape. If that sounds like a small visual refresh, it is, but it's also Samsung tightening the interaction design. The Now bar is only worth having if it's fast, clean, and doesn't get in the way. This leak suggests Samsung is leaning into that. On widgets, the rumor is that Samsung's system widgets are shifting toward more squared-off corners with light rounding. Think Now Brief, Weather, Samsung Browser. The goal looks like consistency across the home screen. And there's even talk that Samsung could offer preset corner styles, so you can adjust the shape language without relying on third-party launchers. That would be a big deal for people who want customization without breaking the stock experience. Finally, gallery selection behavior may be getting a visual cleanup. The leak shows a rectangular box with a soft blur when you start selecting images, and selected items appear inside that box as a quick preview of what you've chosen. Again, not a headline feature, but it's the kind of interface improvement that makes the phone feel more refined. Now, here's the bigger question. When do we actually see this? The One UI 9 is expected to be based on Android 17. Google dropped Android 17 Beta 1 back in February 2026, Beta 2 and Beta 3 hit by late March, and Beta 3 brought platform stability. A stable Android 17 release is expected around June 2026. So, where's Samsung? Leaks claim internal One UI 9 testing is already happening on the Galaxy S26 Ultra. That lines up with the usual pattern: internal builds first, then a public beta shortly after. If Samsung wants to keep pace with Android 17's timeline, a public beta in late May or early June would make sense. And honestly, that's where user frustration comes in. The One UI 8.5 still feels like it's stuck in slow motion, and Samsung usually runs betas months ahead of a stable rollout. We saw that structure before. The One UI 7 beta started December 2024 and stable started landing April 2025. The One UI 8 beta kicked off May 2025 and stable followed in September 2025 for the S25 series. So if Samsung wants the One UI 9 to land smoothly around summer, the beta needs to start soon, especially for the S26 lineup. To be clear, these are leaks. Designs can change, features can get cut, and early builds don't always reflect final performance. But the direction is the most important part, and the direction looks good. Fewer pointless screens, faster access to real info, smarter editing that saves time, and interface polish where people actually touch the UI every day. If you want continued the One UI 9 leak coverage, Android 17 timing updates, and Galaxy S26 software news as it drops, subscribe and turn on notifications. And I want your take. If you have an S26 Ultra, would you install a One UI 9 beta on day one, or are you waiting for stable after how One UI 8.5 has gone? Drop your answer in the comments, and the One UI 9 still has a lot to prove. But these leaks suggest Samsung is finally prioritizing speed, clarity, and day-to-day usability over clutter. If the beta lands on time and these changes ship, this could be the most Samsung is listening update in years. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.